Good morning. Welcome. Uh, 50,000 subscriber giveaway. I actually have an update. Yesterday, finally, got some information. It's a big one. There it is. Not out yet, but working on it. Don't think I forgot. 50,000 subscribers. MSI, who's always been a great friend of the stream. One MPG Trident gaming computer. Nvidia 3060, i7 Intel, 16 gigs of RAM, and two 34-inch curved 144 Hz monitors. That's a nice one. That's a nice one right there. So that's going to be it right there. Gonna be a good one. Hopefully you guys win it. I would want to win that. Hopefully that gives you a nice little either trading setup or maybe you just play games on it. I don't know. Whatever you want to do with it. But that's what I'm thinking. So yeah, got to give back, you know. So no details on entering yet, but I've been working on it. So got to make it a good one. I will have to get through how to do like the logistics and everything. It's just going to be shipped straight to you. I'm going to purchase it myself from their website and then ship it straight to you. So I'll probably also do like entry into the Discord and stuff like that. So it'll be a good one. So just wait for it. I'm working on it. It's not very easy to just give away stuff. You got to do a lot of back end sort of work. So all right, guys. So today's FOMC. Today is FOMC. Today's a big day. Today is just, going to be some volatility, going to be some pretty wild action. I would hope so, at least. I would hope there's some action. That's what I'm hoping for. Either direction, I really don't care. Of course, for my long-term portfolio, I'd like it to go up, but I'm not really too worried about the short-term sort of movement for that long-term portfolio, but it would hurt to see more downside, of course, in the long term. But that is very possible. So we're basically just waiting to see, I think the big question is it 0.75? Is it a triple rate hike, or is it a 1% rate hike? That would be something, huh? That would be something to get a 1% rate hike. So that would be interesting. That would definitely, I think, put a little bit of a shock in the market. I don't think we've priced in 1%. I think we've priced in 0.75, maybe a little bit higher, but I mean, they're either going to do 0.75 or 1. So yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see. I would just say if we get 1%, expect a little bit of concern, expect a little bit of probably downside. And if we get 0.75, I would not be surprised to see the market hold up or, sort of move higher. Because I think that's likely what the market is priced in post CPI last Tuesday. But hey, we'll see what happens. We're not here to predict. That's not the reason I'm here. I am not here to predict the future, unfortunately. I wish I could. If I could, then I would not be here, right? If I could predict the future, I would not be here. So let's see what happens. 1%, 0.75, whatever it is. Watch out for the volatility. 2 o'clock, guys. 2 o'clock is the announcement, and then 2:30 is when Jerome Powell jumps on. 2:30 has almost always shown an either inverse reaction or a continuation of the first move. So there is almost always 2 moves. So if you start buying calls at 2 o'clock because the market's going up and you hold them into 2:30 and the market goes right back down, that's your fault, right? You need to know that there's 2 moves almost every single time. You have to be careful. I would be very, very cautious trading on the event. I think that is probably one of the worst things you can do unless you are very surgical about it. If you keep it very small, if you're used to trading this type of volatility, then maybe. But if you guys are out there, if you're new to trading, having positions open at 2 o'clock, 2:30 is not advised. It's going to cause a lot of volatility. You're going to get emotional. You're going to make reckless decisions, and I would stay away from it at all costs. So that's that. We're not even going to go into the earnings calendar, the economic calendar. Just know it's 2 o'clock and 2:30 today. FOMC. Jerome Powell speaks at 2:30. 2 o'clock is when the announcement comes out. So we'll see the announcement, and then we'll hear from Jerome at 2:30. Tesla, 307. Tesla continues to outperform. It did it again yesterday, once again. And we will see what Tesla does today. But definitely watching this 307 level. Amazon bear flag. We caught this. I tried to catch this yesterday. I caught some of it, but the Amazon bear flag that we were talking about here on the live stream worked out beautifully on the hourly chart. I will go ahead and show you guys that. Apple 153.50. Very nice hold yesterday of 153.50, and you saw the upside on Apple because of that hold. So we'll go ahead and take a look at Apple. Google 102. Google's been very weak, continuing to the downside after that 4-hour channel break. And I want to show you guys this 102 level. Netflix. I know a lot of people's eyes are on Netflix these days. Netflix has had a lot of volatility to the upside, has a lot of catalysts, and it pushed into 250 almost to the dot yesterday and rejected once again. So 250 still is showing as a major level. I think Netflix will provide some pretty nice trading opportunities in the upcoming days. Either you get a really nasty 250 rejection if FOMC is to the downside, if the market reacts negatively, then Netflix is going to be a great trade off 250 to the downside. If the market rallies to the upside off of FOMC, I think today could be the day that Netflix breaks 250, right? If it goes higher, if the market moves higher, then I think today could be the day you see that 250 break. So definitely going to be watching Netflix today. Visa, not a stock that I look at often, but I was sort of looking around this morning, and Visa is at a very interesting level. I want to share it with you today. Microsoft, 2022 lows, this year lows, it's still holding. So I think Microsoft is another one that provides opportunity today. If the market moves higher, Microsoft should hold the lows of this year very nicely. If the market moves lower, then Microsoft will flush under the 2022 lows, and you know there's going to be a reaction off that. So definitely watching that. And then finally, we'll take a look at AMD and Nvidia, just because I always like to look at those. And we will wrap up the stream, hopefully early. I like the early streams. Once again, guys, I will not trying to decide if I'm going to be here tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to be, so I would bet on it. I would bet on me not being here tomorrow. My flight board's at 9:20. I sort of need to be there like around 8:45-ish. So it's going to be pretty difficult for me to get on the stream. So I most likely will not be here tomorrow on the live stream. So apologies for that. And then no Friday. So today's really the big day of the week. So after today, maybe some continuation tomorrow, maybe some continuation in the Friday. But today's the big day. So we're here for today. And then Thursday, Friday, tomorrow, Friday. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have time to be on the stream. If you're part of the Discord, I'll be there. I will be there. But, early morning, it's going to be hard for me to stream on YouTube because I got to catch a flight. I don't want to miss my flight. I would prefer not to. And on top of that, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make it back to Florida because there is potentially a hurricane that is forming, not the one that's already formed, but there's one that's forming that is supposed to be moving into Florida. So hopefully I can get back home. We'll see what happens. So that's that. Let's get started. NASDAQ is, I've been watching this little level here. NASDAQ is sitting at this very major pre-market level as of right now, as we speak. So if you guys look at the 5-minute chart, look at this 5-minute chart this morning. It's sitting right here. So you can see we have rejections yesterday, all in this level, right? Rejection into the close, rejection in after hours, rejection in the pre-market, and then a little triple top here. And we are sitting at it once again as we speak. So it looks like this whole 950, 945 level on the NASDAQ is very important. You can see how many times we are just sitting below it today. So building a top like this should present opportunity, right? On a trading aspect, you should either see a nice push above it or you will see another nice rejection of it. So I'm definitely watching this early morning, this 950 area. Once again, this is the same level I was watching yesterday. So watching this 945, 950 whole area here on the NASDAQ, here's just a short-term look. Definitely looking to see, do we reject here again, or are we going to get the break and push above 950, something like we saw yesterday, a little bit of volatility above it. So hourly chart, I'm just going to go ahead and zoom out here, guys, and show you some of the longer-term look on the hourly chart. Again, guys, I want to reiterate something. Technical analysis is not 100% valid on macroeconomic events. So be very careful about, trusting certain levels today, especially after the FOMC is released. So you guys can see we have this 950 level. This level dates back to Tuesday of last week, about 2 weeks ago. You can see this was the low. We have now rejected it. We have rejected it, and we have rejected it. So we are having a lot of trouble getting above this previous low. You can see the market just cannot get above that previous low. It continues to attempt previous low, rejection. It got above it on Monday, but quickly fell back under off this 12-1 rejection, and you can see we're back below it today. So this level is, I think, everything today. Do we close above it? Do we close below it? What happens here? Do we fall below? Do we break this maybe bear flag? This is something else I'm watching. Do you get something like this where you break that flag to the downside off of FOMC, or are you going to get a push above? Are you going to get a move maybe into the 12-1, right? If there's a positive reaction to FOMC, then I would say you probably look for about a 1.3% move, maybe up towards this 12-1. Maybe that's about where you could see if you get upside. If you get downside, then I would say 12,950 or 11,950 rejection, bear flag break, and continuation. That's sort of my mindset right now. But again, guys, I'm not getting too, I'm not marrying these levels today because of the economic news. So we have to be careful of that. Previous support into a rejection. So I know 12.1 is pretty valid. I know 11,950 is valid. I can see previous support into multiple rejections here. So I know 950 is valid. I know 12.1 is pretty valid. And then up here around this 12,250, I know is also pretty valid. You have these previous lows, previous lows here, and then into a rejection right here. So these are my levels. These are my major ones: 950, 12.1, 12,250. Bear flag also. If you reject, I will be looking for this bear flag break on the NASDAQ. All right. ES, pretty similar. ES is a little bit of a wider range. It's not as clean as the NASDAQ here. It's really just a range between it's like a 15-point range between 85 and 900. So you can see we have 3885 to 3900. It's about a 15-point range. It's this entire low from back here on Tuesday of 2 weeks ago. You have this previous low here. You have a rejection in this zone, a rejection in this zone, a rejection here yesterday, and you are starting to reject this on the ES right now around 3885. So this whole zone is pretty much an unknown in my opinion. I think this whole zone will be difficult to break through, so I'll definitely be cautious trading in this 15-point range on the ES. If we get above this 15-point range, look at what we did on Monday. You can see that big volatility push into the previous, into the next highs, into the next lows, which is at 38 or 39.40 right here, right? So 39.40 is your next level to the upside. If you get upside, right? That's a big if. Above that, you probably look for these highs here around 39.80. But we'll have to see if the market has that type of strength today. To the downside, yeah, I mean, you can see we have a triple bottom here, whatever you want to call this. It's a clear demand zone down around 38.50. You can clearly see that it has attempted to break this level multiple times, and it is held every single time. So if we break that on FOMC, then you definitely know there's going to be some slippage to the downside, right? 38.50, 38.40, big time low that has been built here over the last 3 trading days. If that breaks today, then I would definitely be looking for continuation to the downside if you break these lows. So 38.85, 3900, this entire range looks a little tough. If I go to the 5-minute chart, you can see every time we've traded in this range, we have sort of found somewhat of a rejection, right? We pushed into it here, rejected, pushed into it here, rejected, pushed into it here, rejected. We did get through it late day on Monday. We quickly fell back under it. We rejected it here, and we're right at it this morning. So this entire 38.85, 3900, this is a difficult zone. Watch out for that. If you see downside, watch out for 38.50. This is your demand lows, right? Support, 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 support. Watch out if we trade into that level. All right, that's that. Dow, pretty much the same as the ES. It's this little zone here, 30,950 to 31,000. You can see rejections, rejection, rejection, and you're trading back at it again. So watch out for that. 31,000 to 30,950 on the Dow. Downside demand is here around 30,650. So you're in this range. Which side of the range do we break today? That's what you should be looking for. Finally, the Russell, which is at the same exact point. You can see we are at the range high, just like we are at the range high for everything this morning. Range high, right? You have the rejection, you have the rejection, you have the rejection, and you have a potential rejection this morning around 1810, 1808, right? Right in that zone, you have that possible rejection that could come in. Downside demand is down here around this 1780. You can see support, 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 support. So you are in the same range that you are in on every other indice. So all indices trading in a range as expected into a big meeting. Pretty choppy market action before this meeting as expected again. And we shall see if we break these ranges or if we reject these ranges, right? Let's just keep an eye on that today. 11,950 on NASDAQ is your first major level. and 38.85 is your first major level on ES. Okay. If you want to get these technicals for free every single morning, make sure to join the Discord down below. It says free technicals. I would also recommend joining that because that will be part of the giveaway. You'll have to be part of the free Discord. It's totally free to join. It costs you absolutely nothing. I want to give back to people that are involved in the community. I'm not going to just give back to some random person that jumps onto the stream one day. So if you want to if you want to win that giveaway, it's absolutely completely free. It costs you $0. All it takes is to press a button, join the Discord. There's no talking in that Discord. There's nothing in that Discord besides me posting charts. So you won't get annoyed by people. You won't expose yourself to, maybe some immaturity or whatever you think that's part of Discord. It's not in there. It's just me posting levels, and it's completely free. So I would join that because that will be part of the giveaway. You will have to be a part of that. So here we go. Tesla, 4-hour chart. 30-minute. Let's go 30-minute. Yeah. I like that better. 30-minute. So you guys can see here, 307. That is the major level that I am watching on Tesla today. It bounced off it nicely yesterday, and it will attempt. It looks like it's attempting to bounce off it again today. So you can see we have a rejection, we have a rejection, we have a support, and we have all of the support that came in yesterday. So clearly, we need to know what happens on Tesla at 306, 307. If we go to the 5-minute chart, we can see what happened there yesterday. We had a double bottom. We bounced both times off that 306, 307 area. Bounce here, bounce here. So Tesla obviously is trying to hold this area. So look for that to hold. Look for that to hold today. If you get downside, look for that, hold at this level. If you break under this level, right, if you break yesterday's lows, let's call it around 306, 305, I would look for that downside continuation if you start to lose this level. But again, guys, Tesla has been a relative outperforming stock, so I would stay on the side of it trying to hold until it proves that it doesn't, right? I would not want to short into that level. I would rather wait for it to really prove to you that it's going to fail, right? Something like this, then you start to play it. I would want to see it really start to fail that level before trying to short Tesla because it has shown relative outperformance. So watch 306, 307 for support today. That's a major level. It bounced off of yesterday. It was a previous rejection point here. Look for that. If it loses it, you probably have some room. All right, if it loses that level, Tesla could be a nice short, especially if it moves lower off FOMC, right? You have this little zone of not much, right? You have a pretty quick move to the upside. So under this little support that's been built, I would say Tesla could absolutely move back down towards that 298, right? If it causes some major downside. All right, Amazon. So Amazon was beautiful. We talked about this bear flag in the pre-market live stream. This was my top short setup yesterday, and you can see what sort of happened. And the problem for me is this happened way too late in the day. I was not around for it. I tried to catch it early morning, basically got chopped up, got out, was just not going to hold it all day. And then you can see later in the day, I think it was around 1 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock is when this thing really started to slip under the bear flag. So either way, it's a nice setup. Previous support into 125, into a rejection, bear flag on the hourly. Excuse me. That is a very nice trading setup. If you go to the 5-minute chart, we can see it started to break that level. What is that? Right around, let's call it like right there. You can see it held it intraday. It started to break right around 12:25, 1 o'clock is when it started to get pretty aggressive. So you can see right around here is when it broke that bear flag and really started to lose it, of course, with market weakness. So I tried to trade it in here, got chopped up. It was just very volatile and just not really consistent, so I got out. But that was where you started to really get the slip. So very nice on Amazon. I would be a little bit careful looking for that continuation unless it's off the back of some really ugly market reactions to FOMC, right? I wouldn't try to continue to trade that bear flag unless it starts to break down again, right? Maybe you get another bear flag here. So look for that again, but I would need to see, I would be careful trading this pre-FOMC. You might get a lot of choppiness before it. If you get a nice downside move on FOMC, then I would look for that continuation out of this bear flag. All right. If you get an upside push, I would be looking for another rejection here at 125. If you get that upside push, of course, we'll have to see. All right. So 125 on Amazon. Very nice. Bear flag. Nice work. It worked out beautifully. I would be a little bit cautious chasing it today. Just make sure you see that reaction off FOMC first. Apple. Hourly chart. So Apple, really nice hold, guys, yesterday. Apple was probably one of the leading tech stocks, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. You can see that Apple held that 153.50 very nicely. This was the level we talked about yesterday. We said since we broke above 153.50 and we were pulling back to it pre-market, if we hold this level, which is a previous support, support, rejection, and then we broke above it. If you break above a previous rejection and you come back into it, that is a rejection into support. That's a break and retest. So if we go to the 5-minute chart, we will see that at open, we pulled back into that previous rejection point right here, pulled back into it, nice candle off of it, and look at that continuation on Apple. So very nice move on Apple yesterday. It is stuck under this 157 area though, and I'll show you where that level sort of comes in. This 157 level is an important rejection level in itself. So you can see a rejection here. You can see a little bit of consolidation there. You can see a rejection right here. And you are right at it once again. So be careful of 157.50 on Apple. I would look for the same thing. Can you break it? Can you turn it into support? And can you continue? Or are we going to reject here and move maybe back to the retest of 153.50? All right. So just watch out for that today. Apple, big push. Be careful chasing it after such a big day. Watch out for this rejection up here at 157.50. That is a possible rejection point. All right. Depends on what the NASDAQ's doing, of course. Google. I love the stair steps on Google. It's looking really nice. I will definitely look to see if I can play this off 102 today. That is one of my main watches. You guys can see we had a channel that we broke below. We have another channel that we broke below. And we have another channel that is starting to form, right? So can I trade Google off of 102 today, right? You can see every single time this stair steps to the downside, it creates new rejection points. So you have rejection, new low, rejections, new low. Now I'm looking for the same type of movement. Rejections, and new lows, right? So 102, that's sort of what I'll be watching here on on Google. If I go to the 5-minute chart, you can clearly see the break and the hold, even on the intraday, guys, which is pretty interesting to see, right? Even on the intraday, the break and the hold below right here. The break of support, the hold below support, and the continuation of holding below that support. So today, very clearly, I'll be watching 102 as a rejection point. If I see Google maybe try to test these highs again and start to reject, I will definitely look for that downside move. If we get upside today, right, if there's upside on the market, then I would look for Google to regain this 102 area, look for it to start to turn into support again, and then maybe you can continue. But I would first look for whether this 102, 102.50 area, this previous low, is going to turn into a rejection point. I think that looks like a pretty nice setup. Netflix. All right, so I know a lot of people are watching this. Why are people watching this? Well, the first reason is because it has a huge gap fill, and it has multiple gaps. So if Netflix actually starts to gain momentum, which it may not before earnings, you may have to wait for earnings here. It may just sort of chill before earnings, but if it does break 250, I could see the reason behind a big upside push, right? You can see this huge gap. This is about a 25% gap. From here to here is about 26% on Netflix. You have to break 250. That is clearly the level that needs to break for this to start to move into that gap up towards around 330, 335 right in here. So I know that a lot of people are on this. I know a lot of people are on this trade. I know a lot of people are watching it. I would just be cautious. That 250 level is big. It's very big. If FOMC is bad, if we get negative reaction to it, I would love to play the 250 rejection. I think Netflix will react off of it. If I go to the 5-minute chart, you can see it here. Actually, you know what? Let's go hourly. Nope. Oh, yeah, hourly. We need more time, though. There we go. All right, so hourly chart, 90 days. So you can see we have the previous rejections up here at 250. All up in here, right? And then you have the 250 once again right there. So watch out for that, 250. All these rejections here, these rejections here. Watch out for that to potentially fail. If it does, I think this is a great play because it will react off FOMC. If it's negative, and I think you have a nice little rejection point to play off of, if we have upside today, then I could see the 250 break today. I could see it. That depends on what the market does. FOMC is at 2 o'clock, and then 2:30 is when Jerome Powell will be speaking. So there it is, guys. Netflix, 250. I would definitely watch this today. I think if you get net downside off of today's news, then I would look for the downside move on Netflix. You have a nice 250 rejection. If you see upside today, watch that 250. Visa. So why am I looking at Visa? A stock that I don't typically look at, but I will say this is an interesting level. So if I look at Visa and I look at what the chart's been up to, you do know it's in a downtrend. But if I look at the chart over the last year, this is over the last year, we have bounced pretty aggressively off this 186, 190 level 1, 2, 3, 4 times in the past. So if the market sees upside, that's a big if. If the market sees upside today, this will be one of my go-to watches because I know that Visa will react with the entire market. I know that Visa is at a demand zone, and I know that it will react positively with the overall market, and I have that support below, right? So I know it's in a good area that buyers will step up. So if buyers step up here around 186, this might be something I look to swing trade because I don't mind taking swing trades at these types of really strong demand zones because I know that I have a stop loss under this low and that I can go ahead and get out if I'm wrong. So I'll watch it. This is obviously going to need a strong market to work out. If we don't get a strong market, then I'm not touching it. But if we do, right, you might be able to play, I don't know, maybe a 12% push, 10% push back towards this 215 right up in here. So definitely watching this. It's a watch. It's not it's not a major, like I want to trade it right away, but it is a watch. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. All right. Microsoft. This is another watch for me today. Daily chart is sitting at the 2022 lows. So depending on what the market does, I like this to both directions. I like this to either flush into new lows or for this to push off demand. If I go to the 4-hour chart, you guys can see that we are holding this 2022 low very nicely. We have a previous low here. This is the lows of this year, and we are sitting right at it over the last 3 to 4 trading days. So we have continued to hold this over the last 3 to 4 trading days, which is a pretty nice hold on Microsoft. So you can see we've held this. If I go to the 5-minute chart, right there, we have a 5-minute chart that is held. It is held. It is held. It has not seen much upside, though. That's the problem, right? You're not really getting the upside hold. We're going to have to see what the catalyst looks like today. If the catalyst is positive, if we see upside on the market, I think you're probably at a good point to buy because you know that support is below. So you have that technical level down below. If we get really ugly on FOMC, then you break 2022 lows, then I would definitely look for continuation, right? So that's that. That's Microsoft. Big time low here, 2022 lows. Depending on market reaction today, this is what I would just try to play off this level. All right, that's that. Let's continue. Nvidia and AMD. So Nvidia has continued to show rejections in this general area. It's around this around this 133.50 to 135 level. You can see we have previous support, and we've talked about this rejection multiple times. Watch for this today. This is a good watch, right? If we get a push into it, if we get bearish FOMC, this could be a fantastic rejection point on Nvidia. If we get above it, right? If we break, let's say 135, then you might get a nice move, right? If the market is strong, if you can get a move over 135, there's definitely some, it's going to free up a little bit of pressure down here. So watch out for that on Nvidia. 135, if you break that and hold it, I think it will free up some pressure. It might try to move back into some of this major downside. If you get downside on FOMC, then you know where this is going to reject. Very easy. AMD. Is the market pushing right now? My watch list is going absolutely berserk. Oh, yeah, look at that. Big push. Holy crap. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about in the beginning of the live stream, right? When you break over these major levels, like you see how many times this did not break? When you get a break, just look at the aggressiveness of it. These are, now, why do you see this, right? What's the logical reason behind a move like this, right? It's because you have so many people that are shorting in this zone, right? Everyone's just loading into shorts, shorting it, loading in, adding, looking for that flush, looking for that downside. And then everyone that's shorting here, right? Most people that are shorting here are saying, okay, if it's over 950, I need to get out. I need to cover my short because I need to, I could see, I don't want to see it over that technical level. So I'm going to be loading shorts here with a stop over these technical levels because I can clearly see it's rejected in the past, so that I don't want to see it get above. Now you can see we break above, and that is your reaction, right? You start to get this short covering that's going on. So, yeah, we'll see where that takes us. I mean, that's just a pre-market move, so no, not sure that's going to continue, but just wanted to point that out. What was I on? I was on AMD. All right, so AMD, another one that is sitting at a major low, major low. And if we get upside, I like this. If we get downside, I like it as well. Now, why do I say this? Because I know AMD is sitting at a pretty major support level. This is a previous 74.50, 75 level, which is almost at the lows of 2022. It's at this previous demand, and you can see over the last few trading days, this is where AMD is held. Look at this. So hold. You've continued to hold this area, this 75, 74.50 area. It has bounced every time. So I know that if the market reacts positively, there's going to be a lot of people that have been buying in this zone, and there's going to be a desire to go long AMD here because you have that demand below. If we get the upside on the market, then I think this is one of my major watches. I want to look for those names that are sitting at major levels. So, for example, Microsoft sitting at 242, 2022 lows. I like that if we see upside. AMD, I like that if we see upside. And then what was the other one I was talking about? Shoot, there was one more. Oh, Visa, I like that if we see upside. So I know we have those demand levels below. But on the flip side, you can look at it both ways. If you get downside on this market and AMD breaks this level that has been holding for so long, then there's going to be a lot of people that get out of longs and start to panic, right? So if you get that downside flush under this level off of FOMC, that there's going to be some panic to get out of longs because you just broke that major level. So I like the three names that I just pointed out a lot to both directions because this is it's a very watched level. I don't know how to say it. It's a very influential level here that these are trading at. So 75, 74.50 AMD, Microsoft 2022 lows here at 241.50, 242. Visa, huge level on the daily chart down here at 185, 190, 185. So I like these levels as watches today on these individual names. What did Tesla do off that push on the market? Yeah, look at this. Tesla's getting a little excited again. We'll see if that holds up. Obviously, it's still early, guys, so be careful trusting these moves. Let's go over some of the stocks that you guys want to look at. If you guys could take 1 second and just press that like button, that would be fantastic. I would very much appreciate that. Press the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let's go ahead and pop into the tickers you guys want to look at. We have Lennar, ACN, and TNK. I don't know what any of these are. I'm assuming they all have earnings. So we'll go ahead and see. But Lennar, ACN, and TNK. I'm assuming it's all earnings plays. Yep, that's earnings. TNK. Okay, no earnings on TNK. What is TNK? Damn. Is this a tanker company? Like a logistics company? Holy crap. What a move. Yeah, so big move here. I'm not really too familiar with this stock, but definitely a big move. You just really can't buy off that push, unfortunately, right? It's just a little bit too extended, in my opinion. So I would need to see some kind of pullback. Look for something like this. Let's throw on like the 20 SMA here. Where's that 20 SMA been trading? It's not really following that 20 SMA much. Can we see what the 9 EMA looks like on the daily? Maybe you look for that 9 EMA pullback on the daily, but yeah, I wouldn't be chasing that personally. Maybe look for some kind of pullback on this, but as of right now, that's gone. That's gone in. Maybe you trade it intraday if you want to try to. Oh yeah, no, you're not trading this intraday. There's no volume on this stock, so do not trade this intraday. This is not it's not a very liquid stock. If you want to trade this stock, you're going to have to get a pullback, and you're going to have to, look for a longer dated contract and just sort of hold on, because this is not a intraday trading type of name. There's not enough volume here. So, yeah, that's that. I would be a little bit cautious chasing an upside move after that kind of push. What was the next one we had? TNK ACN. Accenture has earnings as well. Good luck. Best of luck. All right. Fabir, thank you, man. $9.99. I appreciate that. Thank you for the donation. That's very much appreciated. Thank you for supporting, as always. Yeah, Judge was crazy yesterday. What a home run. What a game for the Yankees. I mean, good game for the Mets, too. Two grand slams out of New York yesterday. You guys saw that? Lindor hit a grand slam, and Stanton hit a grand slam. That was wild. All right. I think that's it. I think I'm going to head out, guys. I think we have a good game plan. Let's go ahead and look at the NASDAQ real quick once again, and then we'll jump out. Let's look NASDAQ ES once again. So now, guys, that you are above that 950 level, now what are you looking for, right? If you are breaking above a previous rejection point, what do you look for on the pullback? You look for it to turn into support. So now today, what you're looking for is for this to turn into a support level. If it does not, then you're going to move back lower. But now that you are trading above 950, that is now needs to turn into support. If we go to ES, now that you are trading above 38.85, that needs to turn into support. So 38.85 here needs to turn into support if you get a downside push. That's what I'd look for, 38.85. Watch out for 3900. All right, so look for those previous rejections to turn into a support. All right, guys. Unfortunately, no live stream tomorrow, so I'll miss you guys, but I will be traveling, so I'm not going to be able to jump on. Good luck today. Remember, we have FOMC at 2 o'clock. We have Jerome Powell speaking at 2:30. Please do not try to make a bunch of money today. Please do not try to be a hero today. It is usually going to end up very ugly for you. A lot of people that are, I would say know what they're doing in trading, don't trade today. So it's sort of a sucker's game. You don't be sucked in to big volatility pushes that you're going to have a very difficult time trying to understand what happens. So this is sort of like that sucker's day where they everyone wants to catch a piece of the volatility, except I would say there's a pretty high chance that you can get pretty wrecked in the volatility. So please be careful. Take it slow. Don't be all googly-eyed, chasing the shiny objects today if you don't feel comfortable. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. All right? Good luck today. Have a great weekend. Giveaway coming soon. It's a big one, so stay tuned for that. Join the Discord down below, the free one if you want technicals. If you want to trade live with me every day, that is the one down below. It says trade live with me. That's where I am here. I usually, after I leave the live stream here, I head over there starting around 9:15. So go Giants, go Mets, and what else? I think that's it. All right, guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to you on Monday of next week. Peace out.
Bye.